Why don't we take a minute just to see what's alive for you, what's there for you. It's always a good way to start, is just to bring your attention into your body, take a breath. It's like a big voyage to go from the outward attention of all the details of the setup and all of this and our visiting to then sort of seeing, oh, what's there for me? It's important or alive or maybe not what's important, just what's there. Sometimes we judge what's important and then we miss out on what's there.
I think there's this growing sense of connectedness, completeness, totality. I'm not a religious person, and I never thought I would be someone to use the word God, but when I think about the allness of existence, and mostly what I don't know, and what I can't see.
So that's here,
Yeah.
right now. Let's see that, just be with that for a minute. This allness, this totality, this godness, this completeness you could feel right here. How special to be able to feel that.
It feels more like that's feeling me.
Like you could be aware of this whole big everything. What Jean called the big system. And, and it's feeling you. You're in its grasp, in its felt sense. Let's just see what that's like. Being held by it, or being aware of it being, feeling you.
I've been working a fair amount and high attention stuff, and sort of perpetual until I sleep. And so there's this sense of not exhaustion by any means, but a usedness of my attention. And not like I just woke up, like, it feels like the end of the day, because it is.
Yeah.
And it feels like a series of long days, but there's a sense of satisfaction. And there's a non-zero amount of tension, but not anxiety.
Like being fully used somehow by it, by this big it.
And not overused, not burnt out, not fried. Just
not exploited by the universe, but
at this edge.
at the edge of being fully used.
Mm.
And tension, but not anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trusting it to come through you, to
Right, and I'm hoping
use
that
you.
right it gets what it needs done, and that I can make it work. And then I notice that creeping in, that sort of attachment to what it should look like, and then I notice that, and then that gets surrendered and sort of dissolves. And I, that I like the thought will arise of it should look this way. It's not enough this. It's too much that. You're not enough this. You're too much that. And then something else will arise that'll be like, oh no, like no, or it just like either includes that in part of the perfection, or shows that that wasn't really accurate.
So that feeling of too much, not enough, is that kind of anxiousness that can creep in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right enough. It's not good enough.
Right.
And then there's this sort of, oh no, that's the wrong dimension here.
Right.
That's not the way this thing is.
Right. And in the absence of that, it's not like it's just a like totally let go of. Like there's still a certain amount of load bearing quality, but it doesn't feel like a weight that's too heavy. It feels comfortable, like a well packed backpack.
So you're still carrying a heavy load, but it's well packed and it's well placed.
I don't know about heavy load. I definitely feel like I'm still engaged without self-sacrificing, or without that sort of felt sense of suffering connected to the work.
Yeah, I'm taking that in, feeling of that, of not sacrificing, not being burdened, but just being responsive, and it being full, being a lot, but not too much.
Just the right.
Just
Yeah.
right that edge. Just right edge. It's a beautiful image there of just right edge of being used.
It feels like the
by
important
big
thing
thing.
is discovering the vastness beyond the point. And that in that vastness, it feels like I am not separate from anything.
Yeah. So the important thing is this vastness.
I think the tension is, will I win at the game of, sort of getting more points to experience the vastness? And, there's a wanting to wake everybody in the world up, like 7 billion or whatever the number is, to the oneness of us all, without stepping on toes, without causing a drama of leaving somebody out, or this sort of like leaving somebody unheard or feeling unseen, or I think everyone is special. However you look at what stories we have for where we are, it's like pretty remarkable that each of us is, whether we're a simulation or not, whether this is just one of many multiverses or not, it's still quite unlikely that we would emerge the way that we are and the way that we're not. The sense of a miracle, I think.
And the
is
tension is wanting to get as many points
Right.
to sort of recognize this oneness.
To wake up to
to-
ourself.
To win there's something about winning the game of it
Right.
in the tension
Right.
of how many points can I get here
Mm.
to recognize this oneness, this
Mm.
miracle.
To get the fullness of being human.
Yeah, yeah.
And a very counter thread to this sort of my humanness is defined against your inhumanity, which I see a lot of in the political stuff in our country now,
Absolutely, yeah.
where it's easy to demonize
Right.
on either of the sort of, when it comes to red and blue sides. And I'm just so here for a conversation without sides.
And how are you with the part that wants to win the game?
I think for the first time, playing instead of fighting, with this sense of, one thing that's been rattling around a lot that I've found a lot of juice in is the Tao Te Ching. I found a translation from a sci-fi author that my friends have been trying to get me to read for a while. Ursula K. Le Guin spent 40
Oh,
years on
yeah.
a translation of this, and the way you can go is not the way, so it's like, oh, maybe it's the way I go anywhere that's the way. It's maybe not about what I do, but the way that I am approaching it and
The
being.
way that you do.
Right.
So the way that you play the game,
Mm-hmm.
a playful way of playing the game,
Right.
is the important thing there, not whether you play the game or you don't play the game,
Right.
but how you play the game and knowing that
Precisely.
you're playing and feeling the play
Mm-hmm.
of it.
Precisely.
Does that feel like a good place to stop?
Yeah.
Just take a minute and see if there's any last thing that wants to be said.
There's just an overwhelming sense of gratitude and love, and a non-zero amount of fear and anxiety around the risk of change, that I'm in this sort of calm in the storm now, and that I vaguely hear a clock ticking. And, part of that is my concerns for how the environment might make immigration a really big issue, and how the luxury of drinking water and, abundantly available tap water is like maybe not forever, and some real hard structural changes to how the vast majority of humanity lives on Earth, I think, is up for grabs and in question, and there's this thrilling possibility that maybe has only been possible sometime recently, and may only be possible for, maybe 100 years or so, to have life on Earth work for everyone, with no one left out. That's a sentence that I heard at a young age, growing up in a house that participates in Landmark and all this, that that just really feels like a self-expression.
The sentence that there could be a world where no one is left out.
That work, yeah, a world that works
that
for
works
for everyone.
for everyone.
The way that when you have a chair or a table that's designed with four legs, when it has four legs, it has integrity, it works. And when you remove one of those legs, you might end up on the floor, which is a table that doesn't work.
The feeling of gratitude and the feeling of the calm before the storm and the feeling of time, urgency of time, is the feeling of this message that you got as a kid of wanting to make a world that works without anybody being left out. And that's right there, sort of like the wallpaper of your experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.